You let him rape us, I set you up. First, our father passed away 4 years before all this started. Car crash. Maybe our lives would have been better if he hadn't died that day. Also, before I get into this, one thing you should know is, before this man came into our lives, our mother was amazing. She was loving, supportive, and put us above everything. But she would soon replace us with her new man and her new meth habit. When I was around 9 and my little sister 7, our mom started dating this man, let's call him POS. POS was tall and weighed about 250 pounds. He had oily, brown hair and a face filled with sores. I didn't like him from the start. He made me uncomfortable, to say the least. A few months after they started dating, POS moved into our house. Everything was okay for the first few weeks, I guess. Then my mom started to act funny. Staying up all night, not cooking us lunch or supper, not cleaning, snapping at us for no reason, and started hitting us. Our lives had been turned upside down by this man so quickly. Then one night he came into my bedroom, held me down and raped me. I was screaming and crying for my mom, begging her to come help me, to come save me please. And then I seen her standing in the door watching him rape me. My mom was just letting him do this to me. She was just watching, like she was looking at a TV or something. When he finished and climbed off of me, he walked up to my mom, kissed her, and walked away with her. My mom just left me, crying and bleeding. I was just raped and she allowed it to happen. Not long after they walked out, I hear them having sex in the living room. It was my 10th birthday. Happy birthday to me. A couple of nights later I hear my little sister crying. I get out the bed to find my mom standing in her doorway. I run to the room to try to help her, and my mom sees me. She backhands me across the face, making me slam against the hallway wall. I can hear my sister crying and begging, with no one coming to help her. That was the day, I started hating my mother. The rape and abuse went on for 3 years. I didn't know at the beginning, but soon found out, POS had gotten my mom using meth. POS and meth were the only important things in her life. My sister and I were nothing more than his play toys. I soon started noticing them arguing more and more about who got more hits. This one was stashing from the other one, and you smoked the last of it all by yourself. This is when I started planning my revenge. I noticed after about 3 days they would finally pass out, and would sleep for almost 2. And their bag of meth would always be on the bedside table, beside POS. I know most would ask, why didn't you call the police, or child welfare? Because jail wasn't enough. He might have raped us, but she betrayed us. She turned her back on us. And I wanted revenge and wanted her to suffer like we had. So every chance I got I would move the bag, just at first. Make it look tampered with. Then I started taking it from the bag and placing some on my mom's table. These things alone cause a lot of fighting. They started getting physical. I would keep my sister and I out of sight when this went on. And they never lasted long. Well, I continued to do this over a couple of months, taking more and more, flushing it, or dropping it down the sink. Until the last day. The last day I took the whole bag. It was a good amount, they had just re-upped like they would say. I flushed the whole bag. And locked my sister and I in my room, and quietly prayed that they didn't realize it was me. I am not sure how long after I did this, that everything started. But we had watched like 3 Disney movies before they finally woke up. And then I heard him start yelling about his missing bag. The yelling got louder and more intense, then I heard the breaking of objects. It was starting to getting bad now. I hear my mom go from angry to scared. I hear him hitting her begging him to stop, swearing she didn't touch it. He continues to hit and she continues to beg, begging him to stop hurting her, begging someone to come help her. Begging like we begged her for so many nights. My sister started asking to leave, she was scared and crying. I opened my window, put my sister outside and followed. We ran to the neighbors and told them that POS was beating our mom. The neighbor called the police and brought us inside. And we watched as the police pulled up to our house, start to walk up to the door, stopped for a second, and then started yelling police, and kicked the door open. After what felt like forever, we see POS being brought out to the police car. I wait to see my mom follow, but she doesn't. I see an ambulance pull up and the paramedics run in the gurney. A short time later I see them rushing back with my mom. I catch a glimpse of her once beautiful face, now looking like ground meat. Her face was solid red, covered in blood. She ended up dying on the way to the hospital. I never planned to have my mother killed. I just wanted her to feel the pain we had been feeling for these last years. And I guess in the end she did. She felt the pain and terror we felt every night for the last 3 years. She just felt it all in one night. Do I feel bad about what I did? No, I don't. If I didn't do what I did, we would have been stuck there, being raped and beaten every day until one of us would have died. POS was convicted of second-degree murder, possession of drug paraphernalia. I flushed the actual drugs, child pornography, pictures of us, and 23 counts of aggravated rape and 17 counts of aggravated rape against a person under 12 years of age. That last one is a death sentence where this all happened. We moved a few states over to be with our dad's parents. We hadn't seen them in almost 4 years, and for the first time in a long time, we actually felt safe. My sister, still to this day, doesn't know what I did. Doesn't know that I played a big part in our mom's death. And since we never talk about either of them, it never comes up. We are both happily married now. I have 3 children, she has 2. Both of us are active members of our PTA. No one looking at us today would ever guess the hell we went through. Or what I did to get us out of it. Thanks a lot for staying here. If you enjoy this story, please share this video with your buddies. Now, let's enjoy the valuable comments of this post. I'm so sorry about what happened to you that POS deserves a death sentence for what he did to you. No. POS deserved to be placed in general population with the other inmates, being aware POS is a child molester. There are fares worse than death. He deserves that. I felt like I was reading the plot of a horror movie. I'm so sorry about this OP, I feel sick knowing people like them exist. Not only did you do nothing wrong, you did the right thing. Duck both of them. I hope POS dies in jail. You saved yourself and your sister. That POS got off light with the death sentence. Both of them are in hell for what they did. You were in the right, she deserved to be sentenced to hell. Sorry to say, but hell would not quantify where they are. I don't know what it would be called or how far down they are, but it's in the goddamned boiler room of it. You know what, I'm just going to say your mom 1000% deserved it. She stopped being your mom and became an absolute monster the moment she decided to sit back and watch you and your sister get sexually assaulted by some ducking meth head. Yeah, the mom was more at fault than the man who perpetrated the act, in my personal opinion. That man was a walking piece of garbage, and he was destined to do some awful things, and if it wouldn't have been OP, some other kid would have got it. There was never any hope for him. But the mom, she had it all and let it go by choice. She had the option, and she chose the cruelest, most inhumane way to let her and her kids live a life. She deserved much worse than what she got, if I'm being honest. She straight up watched her kid get raped and enjoyed it. She should have been nailed to a floor and tortured for months, being kept alive with the bare necessities, but making every living moment absolute agonizing hell for her. The man was deranged and should have been killed by someone long before these events happened, and he will always be seen as the scum of the earth by everyone, but the mom deserved something much, much darker. Not enough pain or time to experience it exists on earth for people like them. This is complete and utter bullshit. I've known a lot of drug addicts, having worked in the treatment field. And it is completely absurd to suggest that hardcore meth addicts would pass out after only 3 days with a full bag of meth close at hand. It just wouldn't happen. Most meth addicts will go 7 to 14 days if they have constant access, and will only sleep when their minds and bodies force them to, which takes much longer than 3 days. And even on a week-long bender, typically only 18 to 24 hours of sleep would be needed, certainly not 2 days. That part is my area of expertise, and if it's untrue, I'm sure there are plenty of other lies. This is a very sick fantasy that someone has typed out and submitted for jollies. It's gross. Sending you internet-kind thoughts of healing for you and your sister. I know you said you wouldn't reply to anything said, and I'm not asking you to. Just letting you know someone gives a duck and wanted to tell you that. I hope every day for you both is better than the last. Little update. Our mom allowed her boyfriend to rape us for 3 years. They were hooked on meth. I made it look like mom was stealing it to make them fight. He ended up beating her to death. I didn't want her dead, that wasn't my intention. He is jail, and my little sister and I are finally happy. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoy this stories, please share this video with your buddies.